Job hunting can be a grueling process. Resumes, emails, phone calls, applications, all sent to dozens of places just so you can hopefully find the opportunity you're looking for. The wider you cast your net, the more messy and stressful things become. The cherries on top of it all are the countless privacy issues that impact your day-to-day life. While we can't make the job easier to get, we can help you make a cleaner, more organized, and more private and safe experience. Welcome to our private job searching guide, aiming to tackle all the best practices of searching, applying, and onboarding for your dream job. Recently, both myself and my editor created personal websites. We wanted to purchase them privately though, so we both used privacy.com to protect our card information from the website and to protect the purchase information from our bank. Tune in later to hear more about privacy.com and some of the awesome perks it gives you for your privacy journey and why we love it so much. Similar to a private dating video, a majority of the work is done in preparation. Taking prep seriously allows you to choose and set up the best configuration for you, reduces the likelihood of any mistakes that may expose sensitive information, improves your chances of nailing your job, improves your experience at the job you get, and makes this grueling process a bit easier to get through. First, you need an environment where you're going to be conducting your job search. At the very least, we recommend creating a new browser profile that's exclusively used for your job search. If you want to go above and beyond, you can use a dedicated browser, a second user account on your computer, a virtual machine, or even a dedicated device. No matter what, we recommend everyone has an ecosystem. Doing absolutely everything inside the same browser profile is kind of a privacy disaster, so you should avoid this at all costs. Once your ecosystem is set up, step 2 is establishing an email for your professional life. This is done to compartmentalize your work emails from your personal emails. It's also a great opportunity to choose an email that's, well, a little more professional than your current one. You can use Gmail or another mainstream provider, but definitely consider some other options like ProtonMail and Tutanota. They are more private and secure, but at the cost of being less familiar domains to most people. We think the best case scenario is purchasing your own domain related to your name maybe, or your company, and using that domain with the private email provider of your choice. That way you can receive privacy and security benefits while using your very own custom professional domain. You can also use aliasing services like Simple Login, but in this scenario, we think a real email address that a human being can recognize and not possibly be sketched out by is probably the preferred way to go. Step 3 is getting a work-only phone number. If you did choose to go with Gmail, Google Voice is the easiest way to get a secondary phone number. If you didn't go with Google, we recommend MySudo. Another option is to utilize dual SIM on your personal device. Many newer phones support this, and it can allow you to have 2 legitimate regular phone plans on a single device. The final option, if you want to go above and beyond, is getting a dedicated phone and SIM card with just all of its own stuff for work. This will be the more expensive option, but it will give you the greatest level of privacy. You can also consider using maybe an old phone that you're no longer using as just a work device. Step 4 is a physical address. Keep in mind that the information you're supplying during the hiring process should probably be the same information you give them when you're confirming the job, if you're not trying to be sus. For that reason, you should use an address that you will genuinely have access to. We recommend looking for shipping addresses via mail drop providers in your local area. I've had a lot of luck looking at mail drop providers on Yelp. They give you an actual street address that shows as a real address and not a PO box, so it will work for pretty much everything. They also tend to be relatively cheap, sometimes as low as like $10 a month, so definitely check out that option. The final step is establishing rules and boundaries for the information you'll be sharing. Is your child a point of discussion? Do they exist in the hiring process? Does your previous job? Does your best friend? Do your hobbies? You should really sit down and think about the things you're ready to talk about and share with the world, and the things you're simply not. I strongly recommend going through some sample interview question sites to see some of the answers you may give and any personal information that might be tied to them. Also, keep in mind there are some things employers are simply just legally not allowed to ask you, so consider doing some research to see what laws your state or country have in place to protect your private information during the hiring process. All right, cool. You've chosen your environment and drawn some boundaries, but what does this actually look like? Let's go through a couple examples. Kevin just graduated college and is trying to nail his first job in software development. He downloads Firefox exclusively for his job search and purchases kevinsoftware.com. He registers for ProtonMail and makes his own hello@kevinsoftware.com email, and downloads MyStudio on his iPhone for a phone number. He finds a local mail drop and gets his brand new address the following day. He's ruled out some basic things he's willing to share and not share along this journey and puts it all together to help form his resume. Kevin is ready to start looking for a job. Susan recently lost the job she's been at for like 25 years and is looking for a fresh start. Her old company allowed her to keep her work device, so she now just uses that exclusively for her job search after removing her previous employer's software, of course. She is fine using Gmail for the convenience of Google Voice and uses something basic like susanbaker@gmail.com. For her address, she also gets a mail drop and updates her resume with this information. This process will look different for everyone, but the end goal is to be prepared for the journey ahead and to make ongoing maintenance as easy as possible so your primary focus can be on, well, finding a job. Now that your ecosystem is ready to go, it's time to focus your search efforts in the right places. This is going to vary widely from industry to industry, so the first step is figuring out what type of job you want and where people with those jobs tend to find them. Pretty much everything from word of mouth to headhunters and the job board could be included here. Are you looking for freelance creative work? Check out places like Staff Me Up and Media Match. Did you just graduate with a degree in software engineering? Check out Stack Overflow, junior dev jobs, and cyber coders. Want a 100% work from home job? Flex Jobs is there. More general sites like Indeed, Monster.com, and ZipRecruiter are also options here. Overall, our broad advice is to start with 3 or less online resources where you think you'll have the most luck. This should help prevent you from creating a bunch of useless accounts, getting a crap load of spam every day, and just becoming too overwhelmed. Also consider reading over the privacy policy of each site you choose if you're stuck between a lot of options. Once you know where you're going to search and apply for jobs, create any necessary accounts with the information laid out in the prep section. If you want to be extra cautious, consider using only your first name and last initial wherever possible. The ultimate goal here is to minimize the amount of info you hand over to all these sites and random companies who haven't even committed to hiring you. Anything you put online can become public information, which adds to your digital footprint and can be linked to your personal identity. Ideally, only the job you accept will have any real info on you, and that's only when it's required by law for background checks, tax information, etc. The extent of what you share should be part of the boundaries you laid out in the prep section. Another consideration is your presence on social media and ideally your very own website. The cool thing about your own site is it is your domain, both literally but also metaphorically. You get to choose exactly what people get to see about you, you get to choose what is shared and what isn't, and you get to lay out your points of contact. Aside from what you choose to share, make sure you're guarding your who is information, which may be exposing your personal information on a website. Many web hosts nowadays have who is protection, and some by default use their own in place of yours, like Orange Website, which is what we use. Having your own website is something we strongly recommend, especially considering the recent increase in remote work around the world. While your own site doesn't replace job searching websites, it is a fantastic tool at your disposal to make your presence better than ever. Next, let's cover what to do when you're finally offered an interview. You landed an interview! Awesome! Now it's time to introduce and advocate for yourself. The main privacy concern here will be the means through which the interview is probably conducted. Obviously, Zoom is not ideal, but that may be your only option if they aren't flexible. If they are open to suggestions though, Jitsi is a great privacy-respecting Zoom alternative, and in a post-pandemic world, in-person works great too. In-person interviews shouldn't directly expose much information aside from what you opt to share in the interview itself, so you are the person mostly in control here. Privacy aside, we recommend you check out this video from Charisma on Command for some awesome interview tips that can help you seal the deal. Alright, you got the job, congratulations, now it's time to really test the strength of your walls and maintain them at your new job. Here are just some miscellaneous tips we recommend. When filling out paperwork, passports tend to reveal less info about you than a driver's license, so see if they will accept that for identity verification. Be able to conceal your home address, set up a mailbox where you can receive business mail, only provide data that the company needs. If your employer doesn't supply a work email, stick to using your dedicated business email address you created earlier. Never, ever, if you can manage it in any way, install or use work-required software on a personal device. Request a device from your employer if that's an option they provide. If it isn't, consider picking up a cheap secondary device just for work, or use a virtual machine, or if you have an Android device, set everything up inside a dedicated work profile or user account. All major desktop operating systems support multiple user accounts as well as virtual machines, so definitely take at least one of these routes. Last but not least, be careful what you personally share about yourself in the office. This is probably what people get the most wrong. Once something gets out, it's simply out. Be sure to stick to your boundaries, and we wish you the best of luck at your new job. Privacy.com is a beyond valuable tool for convenient and private payment information when shopping online. The way it works is you generate a card just for a purchase. It can even be a single-use burner card, and you can set limits and make the card completely yours. This will mask your normal payment information to protect you from the countless websites that would otherwise be handling your personal card. We think for an overwhelming number of threat models, Privacy.com is a fantastic tool to make shopping online more private and secure with little impact to your convenience. Check it out in the description or visit Privacy.com/Techlore to learn more. Are you currently looking for a job? Did you already look for a job? Are there any tips that we missed in this video? Definitely share your experiences down below. Thanks everyone for watching. As of right now, you're probably seeing some patrons showing up at the bottom of the screen. Make sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Techlore to support what we do here. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on Techlore.